What is a truth you don't like accepting about yourself? My fear of being judged in a situation suppresses my genuine thoughts about things, and it can make me awkward, unfunny, or seem like I'm trying way too hard. It's like all social interactions have some sort of performative aspect to them, and that thought is constantly broadcasted on some primal level of my consciousness. It causes me to cringe at myself before I even do anything. This typically occurs when I'm around anyone I'm uncomfortable with, and if I do forget about it, and something suddenly happens to draw my attention back to the meter of a given social situation, the feeling tends to double down. I'm not even antisocial, which makes it worse, because I genuinely like being around people. But it sabotages a large amount of interactions for me and makes it hard to make friends. This is me too. For me, it's like I'm trying to view myself in third person versus first person. Instead of being present / in the moment of a social situation, I'm trying to objectively observe myself and the interactions I have in the situation. I often come off awkward because I'm so hyper focused on how I want to be perceived that I can't be myself. I feel the same for 4 to 5 years now. It started when I started being insecure and thought too much about how skinny I look. I don't treat my body well, and I have a lot of crutches that will impact me later in life. Alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, sedentary lifestyle, and pornography. You? What are you? The FBI? But yeah, pretty much. Subtract porn, add some other silly weekend stuff. You also a habitual D&D player, WH-40k collector. I feel personally attacked. I'm constantly plagued with the idea of fearing failure, but I'm then constantly being lazy and then panic when I see others moving ahead. Holy shit. You are me. I graduated with my business degree last fall, but have yet to leave my full-time grocery store job because I'm good at it and it pays the bills. I'm so afraid I'm going to suck at and fail any new job I get and then lose my stable source of income. So I just keep putting off applying. I've been using the pandemic as an excuse, but in reality it's my anxiety about failure. Meanwhile, all my friends are making good money in real jobs while I'm still stuck as a wage slave making $13 an hour. Interviewing is terrifying. If I haven't interviewed in a while, I start by applying to 1 or 2 companies I hate and try different tactics. Just keep knocking on doors. Only one needs to open. See, for me, interviewing isn't the biggest fear. I'm actually pretty good at interviews for the most part. The anxiety inducing part for me is starting the job and not being good enough at it and getting fired. This happened with an internship I did in college. I did great in the interviews and set really high expectations, but I didn't live up to the hype and didn't end up getting an offer at the end. I felt super defeated and useless, and I think that's why it's such a stress point for me. I'm afraid of that happening again. What helped me with this was I saw as an intern that others are also terrible at their jobs the higher the position is. I'm not funny. Can you make yourself laugh though? Yes, but I laugh too hard and only at my own jokes. Well, as an individual who writes and performs comedy, screenplays, sketches etc., I can tell you that you are funny. Comedy is incredibly subjective, but what I've learned over the years working for TV and film is that you should write and stay with what you know. If you can laugh about it yourself, there will be people out there who will laugh about it too. And if you can't find them, who gives a fuck? You think it's funny, right? So enjoy it. I think I'm hilarious. People find that funny. I can get emotional over stupid things. I try not to, and I recognize it happening, but feel out of control over it. In my experience, when I get emotional over things that seem trivial, it's because they are standing in for much bigger things. They're like the understudies for the real issues. This is what I try and do when I find myself being like that, upset because that person didn't say you're welcome fast enough when I said thank you. Now, you're not upset about that. You're upset because you feel like you did the right thing and weren't acknowledged. You don't like feeling unacknowledged because it makes you feel ignored. You don't like ignored because it makes you feel like you don't matter, and you hate feeling like you don't matter because all the traumatic s you've pushed through in life. A lot of it has been done to you by people showing you through their actions/abuse that you don't matter and what you want or say is irrelevant. Does that make sense? These feelings may be triggered by something that seems really trivial, but a lot of the time, if you dig down asking yourself why does that matter, you find some core truths and peace as well. Edit. For those of you asking, okay well, then what? I have a response to that below. But to give you the short summary, positive self-talk to redirect your energy from feeding the trigger to feeding a more positive activity. Great advice. But how do I do that then again? You ask. Here is what I posted in answer to another user. Good question. So the next thing I try to do is some positive self-talk. It helps me because after I recognize the trigger, I redirect the energy I'm feeding it to something that is more productive. I worked on this short mantra with a therapist a few years ago. It's designed to contradict a lot of unhelpful thought patterns I have. Namely that I'm worthless, that I shouldn't expect nice things, and that I'm unlovable. My mantra is I'm worthwhile. I'm worth looking after. I love myself. I say this, sometimes quietly under my breath, to myself several times in a row, so I can short circuit any patterns of thought that say yeah that woman who didn't say you're welcome was right. You're a piece of s and you don't deserve jack squat. Stop whining etc etc. You can make your own mantra like this, and you're very welcome to use mine. When I started doing this, I repeated it to myself hundreds of times a day. Literally hundreds. I was in so many destructive patterns. Drinking, drugs, emotionally destructive and very difficult to be around. I would say it to myself all the way on my walk from home to the bus stop, to every negative thought or welling up of emotion. When I noticed them during the day, all the way back from the bus stop home, and again 10 times before sleep, it really helped. Brilliantly put, and in an accessible way. My therapist refers to this as the trailhead, the point of beginning from which you can travel to find the deeper and deeper framework and history for simple hurt feelings and others. That's good. Trailhead. I'll remember that one. Thanks. I'm lazy and have no discipline. This is mine. If I have no structure, I just don't get anything done. I've had jobs with little to no supervision along with being 100% commission. I always failed. But if I have a job that I have scheduled tasks that must be met, I crush it. OMG same. I always get my deadlines hit and do great work. But if there are no real consequences I usually just don't do shit. I have a huge list of stuff that I want to do on my own time, but I have a really hard time motivating myself to do any of it. I'll do it tomorrow. For sure. I'm the same. Working from home doesn't suit me at all. I've just watched a couple films and spent a couple hours in the garage gym today. I have deadlines to hit tomorrow though, so I'll do 3 days worth of work tomorrow morning. I'm a very overbearing person. I don't trust many people. I don't even like many people, but the few I do like, I find it very difficult to not try and involve myself in every part of their life and get upset when they don't like that. I like to tell myself and them that it's because I care and want the best for them and for them to be happy, but I do understand how overbearing and annoying that can get. Hi, you sound a lot like someone I love deeply. She grew up with a judgmental narcissist mother and as a result has a very anxious attachment style. It can present very much like you describe. It's so good that you are seeing these things in yourself and recognizing that it's pushing friends away. Just from my experience, I would recommend studying codependency. Once you understand why you are doing things, you can begin to make different choices that may result in more fulfilling relationships. Thank you so much for your very helpful advice. The second I read the word codependency my heart sank, because I know that's me, but I will take time to research it better and better myself. Thank you for taking the time to respond. I truly appreciate it. Yes, absolutely look into attachment styles. I 100% relate with you and it really helped to look at attachment styles. Enneagram personality types, MBTI types, things like that. I was able to realize what was behind those actions and recognize when I was doing them. It also helped to not be so down on myself about doing that stuff. Hope this helps. Thank you. Reddit stranger. I will look into these personalities you've mentioned and see what I can discover.